how to stop thinking about your ex. Hello and welcome to Love Advice TV. If this is your first time visiting the channel, then welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to join our community. If you've already been part of the community for quite some time, then welcome back. My name is Danny, and I'm one of the head coaches here at the With My Ex Again project and the Happily Committed project, and obviously on the channel that we are currently on, which is the Love Advice TV channel. This video in particular is about how to stop thinking about your ex. And I wanted to create this as kind of like a follow-up video to one of the videos that I did previously, which was why can't I stop thinking about my ex, right? So it's one thing to understand the reasons for why you can't stop thinking, and then to actually stop thinking about your ex, which I feel like is what you want, right? So if you're watching this video, if you click this video, it is because you are trying to figure out a way to stop thinking about your ex. So what is the first thing that we want to do? Now, this is going to seem totally counterproductive, and I know how crazy this sounds, but allow yourself time to think about your ex. And the reason for why I say that is because if you actively and consciously try to push this person out of your head, it will only make it worse, right? It's like me telling you, don't think about a pink elephant. The moment I tell you that, you're going to think about a pink elephant. And the reason for why is because you're bringing conscious thought to trying, well, let me see if I can explain this in a way that you will understand and that I communicate it effectively. The process of consciously trying to push somebody out of your memory is actually you thinking about that person in order to do it. So when you are actively bringing thought to, I want to forget, you're bringing attention to it, right? So it's difficult for you to really kind of release it and let it go. And at some point, it ends up becoming subconscious. So when you have a moment where you're thinking about your ex, or you're in your feels, or you're just not feeling that great about the situation, allow yourself to sit in it, right? Meditation is a huge benefit for a lot of people when it comes to this. And it's not about sitting there and going into, your stereotypical what people think of when it comes to meditation. It's just about giving yourself space and silence and a safe environment for you to really sit for a few minutes and allow yourself to go through the emotions. I usually equate it to kind of like sitting by a river, right? So it's sitting by a river and watching the leaves of a tree fall into the river and flow past, right? You're not going to try to prevent the leaves from hitting the water, because if you do, you'll go into the water and potentially get swept away by the river. It's about sitting on the side of the river bank, and watching the leaves fall and watching them go by, right? Observation, observing them. So observe your thoughts, observe your feelings, and set a timer for yourself, right? So if you start to get into your feels, take a step back, right? Find a safe, quiet environment and give yourself maybe 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes if you need to. Set a timer. And once that timer goes off, you're up and doing whatever it is that you need to do, right? But at least you've honored that moment and you've given yourself space and time to feel, process, and grieve. That's a very important part of the process. The second thing here is refocusing your attention, right? So it's also a matter of mindset. And I understand that this seems easier said than done, but it's because it requires practice. So whenever you start to think about your ex, refocus your attention somewhere else, right? So whether that be if you have a dog and you start to think about your ex, start playing with your dog. Maybe take your dog for a walk. Or if you start thinking about your ex, decide that you're going to maybe play a video game or something. If you start thinking about your ex, decide that you're going to go on a run, or you're going to go out to the local coffee shop and grab a coffee. Just anything to refocus where your mind is in that moment. And your environment has a lot to do with that. So if you find yourself being triggered by your environment, it's very important to remove yourself from the environment or change the environment. Which brings me to tip number 3, which is change, right, or upgrade your environment. And look, it may not necessarily mean that you and your ex lived in the same place, right? You may not have lived together, but regardless of that fact, when you broke up and you went through that emotional experience, where did you have that experience? Where did you let all those negative emotions out? Was it in your bedroom? Were you always crying into your pillow? Were you staying in bed for a majority of the day? That environment is now ingrained in your memory as the sad space, right? So it's about changing that space. So whether you paint the room, maybe redecorate, rearrange, do whatever it is that you need to do to feel better in your environment. And that also leads me to my next tip, which is eliminate any triggers. So if you have pictures up, if you have their sweater, if they gave you a present or a gift for your birthday or for your anniversary, and you have it displayed in your room, in your living room, in your house at all, remove these triggers. Throw them away, put them in a box, put them away, do whatever it is that you need to do in order to not visually see these things and have to experience the emotion over and over and over and over again, right? So eliminating triggers is incredibly important. That can also mean social media and all of those things. Maybe you deactivate your social media for a period of time. Maybe you mute their stories so you don't have to see things that are coming up. Whatever it is that you need to do to not see these things around you all the time is incredibly important. And again, it's about creating healthy distractions and healthy habits for yourself. So maybe you start to focus on your nutrition. Maybe you start to focus on your physique. Maybe it's about you, again, joining a group or a networking, going to a networking event and meeting new people, or whatever it is that you need to do to distract yourself. Do it. Make it a part of your schedule. If there's a sport that you've been wanting to try and you haven't been able to do it for a while, sign up for it and do it. So at least you have something to look forward to at the end of the week or at the end of the month or whatever the case may be, right? So again, it's really just about honoring your feelings, sitting back and observing them, really kind of working through it. So allowing yourself to grieve. So maybe you utilize journaling as a technique and you write 15 to 20 minutes every single day just to view how you are processing from an objective standpoint, meditating and allowing yourself to really process, right? Maybe that has to do with, again, changing the environment and making sure that you are trying to feel good in your space, eliminating triggers, so that you're not seeing these things visually every day and getting back into a negative headspace, and then creating healthy routines for yourself and implementing them on a daily or weekly basis. That is the best way that you can start the process of not thinking about your ex. But I want to be clear, these are all things that you can start to do right now, today, but it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to forget about your ex like that unless you have amnesia. And then obviously there's a medical reason for why you are forgetting your ex. But in general, it's going to take some time and it's okay. And as difficult as that may be, being patient with yourself through the process is incredibly important. And hey, at the end of the day, if you feel like you still need a little bit more support, you feel like you need to bounce some ideas off of somebody or maybe gain a different perspective on your situation, I am more than happy to support you and help you through that process. I will make your life easy, and I will put a link down in the description box below for a one-on-one coaching session, which I highly recommend. And we can start to work on these things immediately. That being said, if you have any questions, if you have any recommendations, if you've been through this situation and you want to share your story, leave it in the comment box. I love to see the interaction between everybody on this channel. I try to answer as many questions as I can. I try to interact with you as much as I possibly can. And again, at the end of the day, this is your community. This is your channel. We made this for you, so your opinion matters, your experience matters. Again, my name is Danny. I'm your life and relationship coach. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you're staying happy and healthy. I'll see you guys in the next video.